And I'm going to ask everybody to do the name game again.
All right. Hi, I'm Harris Warren. I play the character of Harry.
Hi, I'm Carla Acosta, and I play Kiki.
I'm Trevor Nagel, and I play Lynn.
I'm Cian Conway. I'm the creator of the film.
Okay. Well, I'll hand it over to whoever wants to start, but maybe give us a little introduction about the film that we're talking about right now.
Sure. So the film is about how to successfully fail in Hollywood. And Ellie is a bottom feeder actress at the end of her rope in Hollywood when a life-changing event happens with her Latinx friend, Ben. And a surreal twist unfolds with comedic results, blurring the lines of fantasy and reality as she unwittingly becomes the key to an unusual new take on Tinseltown, where failure is the star. And of course, we have some of the stars here in the film that really help play out just an ode to the struggling artist, the everyday working artist, and how failure is a part of that process. It's also part of the humor of life, failure, so we embrace failure for all it's worth. And it's also just a wonderful kind of tribute to the unknown everyday artist.
So I guess then I'll go acting background for each of you three. How are you all, is it your main sort of profession? Is it something that was at one point your main profession and now is more of a side passion? What? Maybe go into a little bit of your backstories. And I'll hand it over to whoever wants to go first.
I'll take it. I actually went to school for theater and got my bachelor's in it. And I, for a very long time, would do theater tours for children's shows. So that was my main gig. And then I transitioned into more of an administrative community outreach role with that company, but I'm still with them actually. So no longer on stage, but more like behind the scenes type of thing. And then I do this type of these projects just it's fun, it's great. But yeah, I need something to keep the lights on. I need another job to keep the lights on.
Yeah, for me, I've been doing this full time for about the last 4 years. So that this is my full time job, I guess. It never feels like a job. I was a college professor for years prior to that. So for about the last 4 years, it's been acting and producing and trying to get my hands involved in all aspects of filmmaking. So.
Yeah, I definitely have had a love for acting for a long time. Started when I was in middle school years ago, really had that passion for the stage. And I really started reaching out to try to do more in acting in recent years. And I was delighted to be part of this particular cast, just with the professionalism. I'd been an extra on other movie sets and other things, but this really was the impetus for me to go really deep into acting.
Well, I guess I want to dig into a little bit of what you said first, Harris, about the professionalism of the set. And maybe you can speak to this too, Sam, but it seems like maybe in your three's experiences that sometimes indie films are not quite as by the book, shall we say, as some other productions are.
Yeah, certainly coming from some large sets, but the professionalism on those sets, the time scale, like we had to arrive on time and be prepared. CM really brought the love of the craft into this entire cast. She worked one-on-one with each of the actors, which I thought was fantastic, to have that coaching, have that care and the love to really make sure that she brought the best out of each of us in our performances to really make us shine when our moment was there. And there was definitely some times where we really had to get it right. We had one more take and that was it. So I was really delighted to be over-prepared.
And I just have to just really express my very deep gratitude, not only for the actors here, the actors that were in the film. It was a skeleton crew, so we were as professional as we could be with the amount of people that we had. A lot of people were doing a couple different jobs. We had our first assistant camera, Yair Alvarado. He was also like a gaffer. And then Lisa Stoll, who is our amazing DP. She was also like up, light, grip, so. Then we have Cheryl Humford, who was she was a grip. She was help with locations. She was prop person, and she was wardrobe assistant. Angelica Piquet. She was casting director. She was also like our slate. We had Jennifer Burns, and she was our slate and our script supervisor. And then JJ Johnson, who's our makeup artist, hair and makeup. And then Gary Baca, who was our boom gentleman. And then Daniel Hess, our sound mixer and sound recordist. But he also allowed us to use his entire grip truck. Honestly, we couldn't have done the film without it. So everyone was just so hardworking and really pulled it off.
And I think it speaks to kind of this wonderful blend that you managed in the entire production and skeleton crews and things like that with this amazing amount of professionalism that I think, to me, spoke to your experience in the industry and what you'd seen. But it really was this wonderful blending of those two worlds, I thought.
I remember there was a moment where you just gathered everybody right before we were going to film something, and it was just to circle us up and just to take a moment and pause and remember why we were doing what we were doing. That was super cool. So yeah, it was just really, really great. And yeah, everything was professionally done.
Well, I wanted to ask, Harris brought it up, but the women-led aspect of the cast and crew, maybe speak to that a little bit. You know, I'm guessing it was a very much deliberate choice, and what that sort of experience or leadership you think brings to the film.
So women are underrepresented in the industry. It's not a secret. Gina Davis has the Gina Davis Institute of Media, of Gender and Media. Anyway, she produced a really wonderful film, her organization called This Changes Everything. I just encourage everyone to watch that film because it just really talks about historically how women have just been kind of after when we went into talkies, after silent film, suddenly the female-led films were becoming a lot more sparse. Now things are changing. That's fantastic. I was very committed to having a female cinematographer. Of course, I'm the writer, I'm the director, I'm the executive producer, I'm in the film, I edited the film. And so that was really important. And then I mentioned our crew earlier, a lot of women, because women are just really traditionally underrepresented in film, in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I was just going to push that needle forward as much as I could. And really, we need more women representation. We need more people of color in film. We need more LGBTQIA stories. You know, we have a wonderful actor, Adrian Gilbert, who authentically represents the Latinx gay community. And so it's just very important to represent in film, right? We have a very diverse world and we need to represent it.
I get drawn to projects like that, you know, that has not just a really great script and good story, but also is very thoughtful about the casting and the process and the crew and the diversity. I
think, you know, for me, the what drew me into the script, it was unbelievably well written. And I think it melded this quirky comedy aspect with some really serious issues. Both within the industry, but I think just in society, in terms of gender equality and the diversity aspects. So it did a great job of having fun, but taking these topics really seriously.
The reason why I became involved with the film was, first of all, was meeting CM. I'm very passionate about promoting women in all businesses. I was in tech for over 30 years. I was typically the only woman in the room, from the bottom all the way up to the top. So I've had a lot of history in that. So I'm very passionate about promoting women in any aspect of business. And when I got involved with acting again at 7 years ago, not only did I come in as an older person, but also a female. And I could see that there weren't a lot of roles coming through. So I became more and more passionate about finding those kinds of roles. And luckily through meeting CM, and she really inspired me to produce, get my own material out there, which I started to work on about 3 years ago. And I'm actually producing my own film.
As a West County boy, I know that it's a photogenic place. It's about as photogenic as they come.
We're actually sitting at the Raven Theater where we actually filmed. We filmed a scene between the acting coach and myself, because I play Ellie in the film. And we filmed it here. We also filmed at Danucci's in Valley Ford, Occidental Center of the Arts. So a double for indoor locations, you know, a lot of great locations. And so I got to really give props to the wonderful local businesses here who allowed us to film. Hazel Restaurant in Occidental, Mud and Gold in Bodega. Okay.
No, I was going to sort of throw it over to you all now and let you chime in.
So I wanted to talk about my audition because it was really very interesting. So I was really nervous about the first audition that I had with CM and Angelica. And I went in and I felt prepared. I felt like I had done all my lines and all that. And then I go in and I completely blank on all of my lines. And thankfully, CM and Angelica were nice enough to sort of let me sort of do some improv with it. And that improv moment gave me that second chance, gave me that confidence to sort of get into that character. And I really love improv, and it was right in my wheelhouse, and so it was really fun to jump in there. But to have that second opportunity, to have that additional chance to jump in, gave me additional confidence, and now I bring that to all of my acting roles. So thank you for that. CM, it was wonderful to have that second opportunity when I clearly blew the audition right from the beginning.
What was really interesting is he had to do something very, very complicated in the audition. And when you see the film, you'll see that he has to switch between this very, very interesting dynamic that happens in the industry, and that's all I'm going to say. So he had to do something very, very complicated that's very, very difficult to do without overdoing it. And whatever happened, whatever magic in the room, whatever you drew upon was just, we were both like, Angelica and I were like, we just got chills. I get chills even talking about it right now. Because it was, and then he brought that to the screen. You were clearly able to bring that to the screen. But I could also say that each of you, Carla and Trevor as well, each of you brought your ideas. Her comedic timing was impeccable, but you were able to really bring a realistic authenticity to the character. Because there's a little bit of a comic relief that her character Kiki brings, but she was able to completely embody the character in a way that was very sincere. So in the editing room, when I'm watching it, and I can watch it over and over again, and I believe it every time, that is just so impressive to me. And then I'll also just say with Trevor that he was able to, again, be able to portray a very, very complicated character and really inhabit in a way that just felt like when I would hear the lines coming from you, I'd be like, did I write that? I guess I did write that. Was that his line? Was that my line? Because you get kind of lost. So with certain actors, you can almost forget, like, oh, I guess I did write that. Or sometimes they would kind of bring their own finesse to a line or a scene, and that's just so invaluable. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
You didn't.
I did.
Tell me you didn't.
But I did.
How did you?
I just did.
As unique as I like to think I am, my story is not.
Oh,
I'm an actor
okay.
among thousands in Hollywood, trying to make it.
I think you would fart. Excuse me? Let's make a deal.
We claw our way up the ladder only to hang on the bottom rung for eternity.
Not bad.
Don't even think about it!
We are patient, courageous, and apparently forgettable.
On the floor, squirming nude. Interesting.
9 times?
I knew you could do it. Unbelievable.
Oh. If you've ever wanted to peek behind the curtain of Tinseltown, brace yourself.
Go for it.
The tale isn't pretty, but it's pretty funny.
Yes, sir.
You can learn from my blunders.
But to see if the two of you have chemistry.
The secrets to successfully fail in Hollywood. Don't follow at least one, and I guarantee you'll have more success than me.
Get on with it.
Fame is so fleeting.
Do you know what happens to a unicorn when it goes to a rainbow? It turns unisex.